So good afternoon, everybody. Can you hear me louder and clear?
Yes,
Good
Safe.
afternoon, Chief.
Yeah, good afternoon. So let us start. Last lecture we completed the building, and now there is another chapter actually I'll do afterwards. That is the 4.8, and this is the chapter 5. And some of you had done that dry dock stability calculations, what I had given you. But let the more solution comes, and then I'll do it in the lecture. I'll explain if it is those are correct or those are mistakes has been made. That I'll be correcting. Like Melissa, you sent me that negative GM, but it will be positive GM. So you recalculate and find out and send it to me. And now the ship stress, because this is one important chapter. Another important chapter, that is the stress, because due to the loading as well as the buoyancy forces, there will be stress generated on the ship, and we need to find out what is the shear force and the bending moment, how it can be generated. Let us see that first. So now any ship which is made of a series of masses, it means it is, suppose this is a ship we have. So there will be masses which is added and made the ship. So they are distributed. There is a distribution of masses, and total mass is the displacement that we know. So the displacement, that is the delta, is the total mass of the ship. And now this ship, this delta, actually it is downward direction, because by the multiplied by the g, that is the gravitational acceleration. So it will be downward direction. And this is supported by the buoyancy force. So it means it will be supported because it is floating. So it will be supported by the buoyancy forces. So there will be a downward force and one is upward forces, and it will be along the length it will be. And what will happen, along the length of the ship, so there will be changes. Because why there will be changes? Along the length, if you see the cross-sectional view, so this is our midship section. Now this is the center line. Now if you go to the forward, then what will happen? Suppose this is the underwater volume, and if you go to the forward where you have the bulbous bow and all, so it will be looking like this. So this underwater volume in this area will not be same as the midship area. Midship area, this will be the volume. So the cross-sectional area, though we can divide the ship in uniform interval, but the cross-sectional area is not same. As the cross-sectional area is not same, then what will happen? That is giving us the buoyancy force, that upward force. So it will be supported not uniformly. It means there will be difference in forces which is supporting the ship. So along the length it will be changes. There will be different forces along the length we'll be having, depending on how much is what is the cross sectional area of the submerged plane at that point. So this the buoyancy force which is upward, and our mass is which is a downward force. So now the load, what actually load diagram, when we see, that is the load diagram will be the mass which is downward force minus the buoyancy force at that point. That is the load at that point. So that is the way we calculate. It means we'll be calculating the load diagram from the mass as well as the buoyancy diagram. So that will be give us the resultant which what will be the forces at that point. So now this mass also, it will be not uniform throughout the ship. It means at this point the mass will be different than at this point, at this point. So there will be a variation in mass also. So why we are interested to think about it? So if we see a plate, it is floating onto the water. This plate is having uniform mass, and we have the water level, it is floating on the water here. So what will happen? The forces, there will be similarly, there will be a downward force, that is the mass multiplied by g, and there will be an upward force. So there will be a downward force all along the length, and there will be a upward force all along the length. So now this forces, there will be minus this, there will be the load, but that will be uniformly distributed throughout the length of the plate. There will not be any difference in the forces. So suppose the resultant force here we have calculated, we have deducted, and there is a resultant force here, and there is a resultant force here. All the forces will be same. If this plate is subjected to all the forces which is equal, and then what will happen, and same direction, then there will not be any shearing force, because shearing force will occur if this is our, for an example, this is some object, and we have the forces acting in this direction. Suppose this is in this direction, there is a force, and in this direction there is a force, and these are equal, and direction also equal. Will there be any shearing force in between? There will not be any shearing force, because both the plate will lift uniformly. But the moment if the force is unequal, suppose this is higher than this, or direction is different, then what will happen? There will be a shearing force in between. So that is the reason we are concerned about, because this forces load will not be uniformly distributed. The moment it is not uniformly distributed, there will be a shearing force which will try to shear off the vessel. So that is the concern for us. It means we need to calculate that how much is the shearing force, so that the ship is strengthened enough to withstand that force or not. Otherwise, the structure will get damaged. It will fail, the structure. And if there is a shearing force, then what will happen? Now, suppose there is a force which is, and suppose this is a plate. There is a force acting here, and there is a force acting here, and they are not equal. Then what will happen? There is a shearing force as well as there will be a bending moment, because this will, suppose this is higher than this will move this way, so there will be a bending moment also. So if there is a shearing force, there will be a bending moment, and both will have to calculate, so that the ship should be longitudinally strengthened enough to withstand these forces, so that ship can resist, that strength can resist these forces. So that is the concern about this ship stress on this chapter. So now, how will you find out that? So one is the mass or weight diagram. It means weight, we know that the mass, we know that is the ship is built of mass, and then after that also can be additional masses. We take ballast, we can take cargo. So those are the additional masses, or the stores and all will be additional masses. It means we can actually draw a mass or weight diagram. How we can make it? It means we have a shape like this. So we have a shape which is, suppose this shape is up to this. So this mass we know. What are the masses? Accordingly, we can draw a diagram. Suppose we draw, this is the extreme length, and along the length, if you draw an horizontal axis. So we can draw one horizontal axis, and because this masses will be downward direction, we can draw like here the mass will be less, and then little bit more, then little bit more, and then it will be higher because this is the accommodation block and the machinery space underneath. So this way we can mass the diagram we can draw, and the end it will be 0, because at the end, extreme end, it will be, there will not be any mass. So this way we can draw a weight diagram. Weight diagram means when we multiply the mass multiplied by the g, then it is weight. Both way we can do, because g is constant, and we can calculate, and finally we can multiply it by the g. It will give you the weight. So mass diagram or the weight diagram we draw like this. Along the length, how much is the mass, we can divide it. So we can divide this per meter, and we know in per 1 meter how much is the mass, and then we can calculate and we can plot it accordingly. Like here I have increased, because this space you have the accommodation block underneath the machinery space. So there will be machinery and all, so definitely the mass will be increased. This is the light shape condition we are talking about. So this is the mass diagram once we make, and the weight diagram. Then there will be, this is the, I mean, along the length we plot it, okay? And we'll be plotting mass per meter. So each meter how much mass is, and which will be downward direction. Now another curve we'll have to make, that is the bouncy curve. Bouncy curve means which is supporting. Actually, it is floating, so there will be a upward force because of the, it will depend on the how much underwater volume it is displaced water. So that will give us the bouncy forces. Now this we need to, we'll consider in our syllabus, that is a, it is a still water longitudinal strength. It means there is no external forces, only in calm water ship is floating. That is the condition we are considering. And underwater volume in per meter, suppose this is, we divide, this is a meter, and this is our water level. So this is our water level, and this is our water level. And this 1 meter, every 1 meter, we know how much is the underwater volume. And that is giving us the bouncy. So we can draw the bouncy curve also accordingly. Like here, this is the area, this is the volume, that is total volume is the bouncy force here. And then this underwater volume will give us a bouncy force here. So along the length, each 1 meter, we can find out what is the bouncy force. And once we know the bouncy force, we can plot it. And similarly, like here, we have drawn a curve, which is the weight of the mass curve. Similarly, we can have a bouncy curve. It means we can have a curve like this will be the less, and then slowly it will be increased, bouncy, and as it is midship area, it will be the maximum, because underwater volume will be maximum, and then this way we can calculate this green curve what I had drawn, that is the bouncy curve we can calculate. And when we are drawing this curve, the scale has to be same. Both our mass or weight curve diagram and the bouncy curve, the scale should be maintained same, because we'll be deducting these two values. One is upward direction, one is downward direction. We'll have to deduct this. It has to be maintained the same scale. Otherwise, you'll not get the correct values. So this is the way bouncy curve and the mass curve is drawn. Is it clear, everybody, how I have drawn it? Any question? So, is it clear? Means you have to speak whether yes or no. So, silent means it can be two-way. So, is it clear, all of you? How we draw?
Yes, Chief, it's clear.
Yeah, it's clear, Chief.
Okay, so let us move to the next next slide. So we have drawn the mass or weight curve and the bouncy curve. From here, we'll calculate the load diagram. So load diagram, how we calculate. So this load diagram will be difference of this. It means one is downward, that is the mass or our weight, and one is upward, which is opposing each other. So if we deduct this two, that is called load diagram. So each 1 meter will have a load diagram, that is the value we will be having, that is the difference between the mass diagram and the buoyancy diagram. That value at that point, we deduct it, will get a load diagram. It means this load diagram, it means here it is, I have drawn an arbitrary. Here in this diagram, all the weight is higher than the buoyancy, but it will not be. Some places buoyancy will be higher than the weight. So because it is floating, so it will be supported and it will be in afloat condition. So if we deduct, suppose this was the 1 meter distance, and there is a value of our bouncy force, and there will be a value of downward direction, that is the weight or the mass. We can deduct it and we can get a value. It can be a negative value, it can be positive value, because we need to see what is actually, which one is. Suppose your weight is more than the bouncy force. So W minus B is, suppose there is a value, it can be W can be also in some 1 meter distance. The W can be, like if it is W is more than the B, then it will be a positive value. But whereas if W is less than B, then what will happen? You will get a negative value. So there will be two type of values we will be getting. So accordingly, it means since bouncy force is upward direction, which is actually we are interested for, so that bouncy, it is supported. So if we take this as plus, in that case this will be minus. So if when you are drawing a load diagram, then what will happen? This load diagram will be, suppose we give the positive value in upward direction. So this is the positive value, and there will be a negative value also, that will be in downward direction. So this will be our positive value and this will be negative value. So this is the way, because this is the axis we have drawn, this is 0. So in this case, what we have done, B is higher than the W, then we consider it as positive, and B is less than the W, then we considered negative value, because this summation will become negative in that case. and we can plot a load diagram like this. So suppose this is again here it is coming plus and then again coming negative like this, like this. But one thing remember, when you draw this, the positive value, this is positive, this is positive, this is positive. This is negative, this is negative. How do you know that your diagram is correct? If you sum up these positive values, all the positive value you sum up and the negative value you sum up, it should be equal. So that confirm that your diagram is correct. So this is the way we can plot the load diagram. And you can check also if it is correct or not. So now, once you draw the load diagram, it means here you can see your what I had drawn, that is here the positive value with the negative value, again positive, negative, positive. So what does it mean? There will be a shearing force because the shape will try to shear off. So that's the concern for us. It means the ship has to be strengthened enough as per the design. It means the designer has designed for certain values that should not exceed. That is our idea. It means during the operation that value should not exceed how much will be the shear force. So this Lodicator computer, there is a program, it is approved by the classification society and then sold, so nobody can change that program. So that gives, that calculates and gives. That's why chief officer, chief mate, you must have seen that he calculates always with that Lodicator computer. It is a dedicated computer for the loading, means the for this calculation. It should not be used for some other purpose. Yeah, Teka, tell me.
Sir,
Yeah.
I have one question here.
Yeah, tell me.
This normally on the ship,
Yeah.
the displacement of the ship and the buoyancy force of the water, is that not equal amount?
Total,
I mean, the magnitude is not equal.
Total is equal. That's what we have seen, isn't it? Other chapter. Delta, mu is delta multiplied by g. And delta multiplied by g, that is the weight. It is equal and opposite. But the distribution we are talking about now. Understood, Teka? Total is same. But how it is distributed, that is our concern. That will create, giving us a shearing force. Understood?
So you mean that the distribution is not the distribution of the mass and the distribution of the buoyancy is not the same throughout the ship?
No. Have you understood what I have told here? If you see, is your mass distribution same for your ship? It can be same, it cannot be same. Most of the cases,
no,
it will not be.
It's not, yeah, not same.
As well as, if you look at this diagram, each one, for an example, this 1 meter, this is the underwater volume. And this 1 meter, this is the underwater volume. Are they same? They are not same. What is the buoyancy force? Archimedes principle. So underwater volume has displaced some water, volume of water, that mass is equal to this mass, isn't it? So at this point, the buoyancy force will be, and that gives us the upward thrust. So this, from the aft to this will be definitely some value which is less than this value, because here, if you see, underwater volume is more. What you are talking about, that is the total. Total will be same. That's why here also we see the load diagram. Total plus minus should be equal. So total will be same, but their distribution of force will not be same. And that is our concern. That will give us a shearing force, because it will try to, it means any object, if this is the object and you have a force which is in this direction here, and another force in this direction here, they are not on the same line, there will be a shearing force here. It will try to shear off. And even if on the same side, if the load is different, also will create a shearing force. But if it is opposite side, the shearing force will be higher. So is it clear, Pekka? Understood?
Yeah, thank you. Now it's clear.
Yeah. So the distribution is concerned to us. Now, this load diagram, once you have, you see the plus, minus, plus, even this 2 plus is not same. It means plus, in between there is a minus. So there will be a shearing force. And we need to find out what is the shearing forces and what is the maximum shearing forces the ship will be subjected to. Otherwise, it has to be within the limit as per the design of the ship, because once the ship is designed, we are not going to change the design, isn't it? We know what is the strength of that ship, because we consider this as a ship has a single beam. So we always considered that ship is a single beam, and these forces are subjected to, it will have a shear force, and this beam or the shape has to withstand that. It means it is, what is the design parameters? So it should not exceed that. So that's the reason Lodicator computer, the chief mate always calculates, so that he knows that the ship is within the stress limit. So once you have a shearing force, it means this is the load diagram we have drawn till now. Then let us see the shearing force diagram. So the shearing force diagram, how will you draw? It means this is the load diagram, we have got it. Now we can easily draw the shearing force. This load we have calculated per meter. It means we have, for an example, this is ton per meter. And if you multiply it by G, and we can find out kilonewton per meter. That is the load diagram. Now, from here to here, we have some value. So this value is kilonewton per meter, for an example, multiplied by, this is the distance, L. So Kn multiplied by per meter multiplied by meter. So what you get? Kn. So this is the force. It means this is the shearing force we can calculate. So this curve, under this curve, if we calculate the area, what I have just now done, this is kilonewton per meter. And this is meter, L is in meter. So if you multiply these two, what we have found out, this is the area under this curve. And that value will be our shearing force. It means at this point, this value, what we are getting, the area under this curve, suppose this is the area. So this will be our shearing force diagram. It means shearing force will increase like this, because as we move this direction, your area, suppose at this point, area is this much area. At this point, area is, the total area is increasing. So it will uniformly, it will increase. So in simplest cases, it will be a straight line, but it might not be a straight line. So in this case, what is happening here, I have drawn a rectangle. That is the reason it will be a smooth curve. That is, the smooth curve means it is a straight line. So this is the way we can find out. We'll get a value of Kn. That is the shearing force at this point. So at this point, the shearing force will be that Kn. So this is the way we can calculate. After that, what will happen? This is negative. It means it will move upward direction. because the area, this is positive, this is negative, this area slowly what will happen, it will keep on reducing because you are deducting this side. Once you are deducting, what will happen, your value will keep on reducing, and at one point it will become 0. Because what does it mean? At this point, this area is equal to this area. The moment these two area is equal, your sharing force will be 0, because we are calculating the sharing force under this area, which is a kilonewton. Now at it is negative, area is been sum up, so what will happen, it will be keep on deducting from this area, and at one point you will get a 0. That means this area under this curve, load curve, and this area under this load curve, it's equal, an opposite sign, and the shear force will come to 0. And then what will happen, after that it will keep on increasing, because this area we are adding to that. It means this area will be added, and then it will keep on increasing the values. So this is the way we can construct the shear force diagram. And once we construct the shear force diagram is only, it is the load diagram. Once you construct, the area under the load diagram gives you the shear force diagram. And exactly similar way, we can find out the construct the bending moment diagram. So the bending moment diagram, what will happen, if we calculate the area under this rate curve what I have drawn. So this area under, suppose for an example, at this point shear force was a value of Kn, we have got, that is the area of this. And now what is the Bm? So Bm is equal to our Kn multiplied by m. That is the bending moment for this shear force. So what we do, we calculate this under the area under the curve of shear force. This area, if you calculate, then what happens, this is the lever, that is the m, and this is Kn is the shear force multiplied by the distance, that gives us the Knm. So this Knm, that is the bending moment, and we can calculate this is a triangle for us, because I have taken here rectangle, we got a triangle, and this area of this triangle will give you a value, that is the Kn meter at this point. And if you plot that, then what will happen, suppose this is the end of the shape, and this is the point we have calculated, that area under this load curve, we have, this is the shear force curve, we have calculated the area, that gives us the kilonewton meter, and that is, suppose, the value of this. So this will be kilonewton meter. So in this case, what will happen, how the curve will be like this. So it will not be a straight curve. Why it will not be a straight curve? If you divide this, this is a triangle, will be having an area, this is a triangle, another area. So if you check the values, it will not be a linear curve, it will be a curve like this, because this is not a rectangle. Rectangular shape, we get a uniformly it increases, but whereas for the triangle it will not be uniformly increased, so you will get a curve like this, and that is called bending moment curve, BM curve. Is it clear? So every point, suppose we are we can calculate every point what is the our bending moment value, and then we plot it that, and then we make a smooth curve to get it. So we will have to draw a smooth curve which will give us the maximum bending moment as well as where it is, and the maximum shear force and where it is. All this information will give us, and it will be compared to the design parameters, so that the ship is within the safe limit. It means ship is safe, ship structure will not fail. So that is the way we construct what we have constructed. First is the weight or the mass diagram, and then we constructed the buoyancy diagram, and after that we constructed the force diagram. Once we constructed the load diagram, that is the difference of mass and the buoyancy forces. After that we have constructed the shear force diagram. And once we have the shear force diagram, and then we have constructed the bending moment diagram. So this is the way we can, and then once you have constructed the shear force diagram, we know what is the maximum shear force and where it is located. As well as that, because your shape will not be uniformly strengthened. And then, so location as well as the maximum, both is important to us. And then the BM, that is the bending moment, we can construct from this shear force diagram, and then we can find out what is the maximum bending moment and where it is lengthwise. This is the longitudinal strength we are talking about. So is it clear, everybody? This, what is it written here? It is the same
Yes,
thing.
it's clear.
Another thing, yeah. So another thing, the end, you'll be having shear force 0 always, because there is no area at the end point. And another thing, this shear force, when you draw, you will see some positive value and the negative value. Altogether, it should come 0. Yeah, somebody wants to say something? So if, because you are not coming clear, somebody was trying to say something, you can put it in the chat. I'll look it, I'll see the question and I'll answer to that. So another thing, like the certain things, let us see now, which is important to us, that the bending moment where the shear force is 0, your bending moment is maximum. You will be finding when you construct it. If you don't find that, it means you say that there is some mistake has been made for the calculation or plotting. So that it is, it will be always the shear force is 0, bending moment will be maximum, and end the shear force and bending moment will be 0. It means when you are calculating, you see if you are coming to the end and you are not getting a 0 value, it means there is some mistake. So end, it will be always 0. And shear force positive and negative values, it will be always, if you sum it up, it will be 0. So it will be at plus and minus will be equal. So the let us see this diagram. But in your syllabus, this is just for your understanding. In your syllabus, actually, it is the uniform mass. But actually, shape will not have uniform mass. In this case, if you see this, so this is the mass distribution. And as the mass distribution is not uniform, so your buoyancy also is not uniform. The cross buoyancy will depend on the cross-sectional, that is the underwater volume. It is not depend on the mass distribution. It will be depend on how is the shape of the ship. So as we have seen that one of the cross-sectional view I had drawn, that the forward with bulbous bow, the shape is different and the area will be different, volume will be different, multiplied by 1 meter. So then it will be slowly, usually what happened, the ship, if you see, the midship section is increased as you move, this is our aft, and as you move forward, so this midship section will increase. And both side it is symmetrical, so it will be, both side will be same. So this will be our, this will be a symmetrical, port and starboard will be symmetrical. So this will be our ship. So in this case, what will happen, if you see the cross-sectional area has increased and there will be a parallel body. It means this area, the volume will be higher than this area. And this is the entrance, and this is the, it is the back side of the stern of the ship, which where also the volume will reduce. So what does it mean? Where the underwater volume is increased, that area will be having the maximum buoyancy. So the buoyancy will move like this. So slowly it will increase at the center area, the midship area, it will be increased, and then it will reduce again in the forward. So if we deduct these values, these two values, we will be getting a value like this. It means some will be higher this side and some will be this side. And if we, this area and this area, these two area, if you add and this area, it will be equal. So this is the load diagram. And once we have constructed the load diagram, we can construct the shear force and the bending moment we can construct. So in this case, what will happen? The shear force, it will be, this is the shear force, it will increase, and then because there is a negative value, what will happen? This, tell me why it is not, this is, here it is 0, the load, but the shear force is not 0. Why? Have you got my question? Here the load is 0. But if you calculate, when you're calculating, the shear force will not be 0 here. It will be, it is 0, but here it is. Yeah, Teka, tell me.
Sir, because at the vertical line, at the point 0, the maximum area until the point is 0.
Yes.
So the
Yeah, tell me.
shear force, when we taking the, so the area until the crossing the horizon, the maximum area.
Yeah, that is the, you are
So
the,
it will not
yeah.
0, it is maximum.
Yes, you are the correct answer, because what we are calculating? We are calculating the area. That is giving us the shear force. And that is maximum actually here. Because this complete area, after that we are deducting this area. And again, we are adding some area in this diagram. After that, we are deducting again this area. So here it is 0. What does it mean? The total area is 0. It means this area plus this area minus this two area is equal. It means this minus and plus is equal. That's why it is getting a shear force is 0 at this point. So this is the way it is, we have constructed the shear force diagram. After that, what will happen? This area is keep on, here it has become 0. After that, this is the area which is getting a negative value because this load is negative. So we'll get a curve like this. And once we get a curve up to this, it means it will keep on increasing here. At this point, because this is the area, complete area where it will be maximum. Here, like here, where it was maximum here. Because after that it will start reducing. Why it will start reducing? This value what we have got here, now it will be deducted because this is minus, this is plus. This area, as we move towards this side, this area will be the difference in area which will be giving us a value. So it will keep on reducing, and finally what will happen? It will become 0. At the end it has to become 0. If you don't get a zero value, you have made a mistake which has to be corrected. So you need to recalculate if you don't get a value of zero here. Because this area, positive area and the negative area has to be equal. Then only ship will float. Otherwise, it is not, it will be in equilibrium position. Otherwise, it is not in equilibrium position, but ship has to be in the equilibrium position. And then you can construct the bending moment accordingly. For instance, this point, we can calculate the bending moment. That will be area under this curve. So that value will give us here. So this is the value at this point. After that, again, it will keep on adding because this is positive still. This area will keep on adding. So this value will keep on increasing. This value will keep on increasing. So then what will happen? It is keep on adding up to this because this is the positive value. After that, what will happen? So after that, the value will reach to maximum, like exactly similar way the shear force was maximum here. Now this area is negative. So this area will keep on deducting. So it will move like this. And at the end, it will become zero. Because this area and this area has to be equal, negative and positive, because it is in shape is in equilibrium position. So is it clear? But in your syllabus actually, but you need to have a clear picture how it is. In your syllabus, it is not this way. It is uniformly distributed mass. So if the uniformly distributed mass, and after that you can add some mass, but you will not get a curve like load curve like this. There will be difference in mass, but that mass will be, suppose from here to here some mass is there, which is uniformly distributed from here to here. So you will not get a curve like this, you will get a curve like a rectangle if it is uniformly distributed. Why we have got this? Because our mass is not uniformly distributed from this point to this point. So in your syllabus, it will be uniformly distributed wherever mass may be vary along the length. And another thing, that the light ship mass will consider equally distributed. After that, we are doing some loading, cargo loading, or the fresh water or stores, something you load it. That also in certain distance, it will be uniformly loaded. So we will not consider any concentrate load. So we'll be considering uniform load, and light ship load will be equally distributed. So that is in your syllabus. So it is much simpler actually. If you consider this, then it is more complicated, but this also can be calculated. There is no problem. How you calculate, simply that is the Simpson's rule we will have to apply. So by Simpson's rule, we can calculate this also. This under area under this curve also you can calculate, but it is not there in your syllabus. And now, is it clear, everybody? Now we'll do the numerical on this. So we'll be doing some calculations so we know how it is constructed and how it is calculated. This one. So that's why what I said, that this is the, in your syllabus it is the boxed barge. So that is the reason our light ship, it is distributed equally, and the mass also what we are adding, that will be in that compartment, it will be uniformly distributed. So that is the way, and that is the calculation we will be doing. And permeability, we have seen that mu, what is the permeability? It means underwater volume also will depend on the permeability. It means if it is less than, if it is 100%, then that compartment is fully filled and you will get a bouncy. But if it is not 100%, there is a permeability. It means what mass we have added actually, that is not occupied the full volume. So then it is the percentage we need to take. So now let's see this numerical. So we have a box barge 200-meter long, and it is divided into 5 compartments. This is 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, and equal length you have. So it is divided equally. So total length is 200 meter. So our individual compartment will be 40 meter, 40 meter, each will be 40 meter length. So now what we need to calculate, what had happened, the condition has changed. What is the condition now? 500 tons of cargo is added in each end compartment. It means this compartment is filled with, taken with 500 tons cargo, and this also is filled with 500 ton cargo. So once we have added this mass at the end compartment, then what we need to find out the shearing force and the bending moment, and where is the maximum shearing force and the bending moment, and what is the value of it. So in this case, how to approach this? So now here, can we calculate the light ship mass? Can you calculate? So light ship mass, with this available data, can you calculate? Anybody wants to answer? This box part will have a light ship mass. But can we calculate that? Yeah, Teka, tell me.
Sir, we cannot, we can by percentage. We cannot exactly calculate of the large.
Yes, we cannot calculate actually. The information what we got it, with that light ship mass is we cannot calculate. Then how will you do this numerical? If we cannot calculate the light ship mass. Now, if you look at it, if we don't even know the light ship mass, still we can solve this problem. How we can solve this problem? Because light ship mass, this is a box barge. Okay. So due to the box barge, it will be equally distributed throughout the length. It means this length, if you see, total length is 200 meter. So it will be equally distributed along the length, the light ship. And that's, let us do this. Then let us see what had happened. At the light ship mass, there will be a, suppose the draft is up to here, or let us take the draft is up to here. So here we have the draft, we have a draft of a level, some level of draft we have, and this draft will be uniform at light ship because it is a box barge, because underwater volume throughout the length will remain constant because our cross-sectional area is rectangular because it is a boxed barge. So if you see the cross-sectional area, it will be like this. So it will be remain throughout the length, it will be same. So our the buoyancy also will be uniformly distributed. Now what will make the changes? The draft will increase because of adding this mass. So we can consider this. Let us say how much mass has been added. 1000 ton total mass. So if the total mass is added 1000 ton and multiplied by g, we can do, that is the weight we can calculate. Let us not calculate the g and g. So this is also will give the same reading, and at the end we can multiply it by g. So this is the mass has been added. And due to this mass added, what had happened to the ship? Draft has increased. So how much draft has increased? It means we have the mass is given, added mass, and that has given us an additional buoyancy because the underwater volume has increased, and that will increase the draft uniformly. For an example, our draft was here. So this was the draft level, and because of adding mass, the draft level has come to this, and this draft level will be increased uniformly throughout the length. So because it is a boxed barge, and we can calculate the additional buoyancy per meter. So additional buoyancy per meter will be how much? So additional buoyancy per meter we do calculate, we'll get a value of how much is the total length, this much is the weight is been added and divided by the length, that is the total length, that is 200 meters. So we can calculate the buoyancy per meter is, we can calculate because this will be uniformly distributed, because all the compartment, the volume will be increased equally because the draft has increased uniformly. So this will be 5 ton per meter. So this will be the buoyancy force which will be supporting the vessel. It means buoyancy force will, that is the additional buoyancy force, because initial buoyancy force we don't know, because initial weight, the light ship weight we don't know, but we can still calculate, because if you see, look at it, we are deducting to find out the load diagram. So that time that get cancelled out. But if in the numerical it is given to you, you use that, you find out the light shape weight and the how it is distributed, and because of the light shape weight, then you add, after that cargo is added, you add it. But here there is no scope of calculating that, that's why we are not calculating. So what will happen, this is the ton per meter will be having the additional buoyancy, and if you multiply it by g, t will become kilonewton. Now what had happened, compartment 5 and 1, we have added 500 and 500 tons of cargo. Now in this compartment, our weight is different than the other compartment. So what is the weight in this compartment? It means similarly we can find out additional weight per meter . So weight per meter in compartment 1 and 5, so it will be 500 because both are equally loaded. So 500 divided by our 40. So this is also additionally how much weight has increased. It means this will give us a value of 500 by 40 is 12.5 tons per meter. This is the weight from here to here. So from here to here, and we are considering it is uniformly distributed. So we have from 1 and 5 up to here, we have the weight 12.5, which is additional weight, and we have additional buoyancy will be throughout the ship length. So what does it mean? If we calculate now, if you construct the mass diagram as and our buoyancy diagram, how it will be. So there was some interruption in the internet. Now it has come. Let us start again. So if we construct now, how it will be constructed, let us see that. So we have an axis. Now we'll have to plot the load as well as the buoyancy. So we have this is divided into 5. So for an example, this is A, this is B, C. So there was some interruption again for the internet. Let it come again. So what we want to do now, we want to construct the mass curve and the buoyancy curve and the load curve, and then we want to construct the shear force and bending moment curve. So in this case, let us see here. So what will happen? For an example, let us draw a line here. So this is the horizontal line. Once you draw it, now we can construct a load diagram from here to here. What will be the mass? This will be the 12.5, and we are not considering any mass because light ship we don't know. So here there will be another curve like this. This is also 12.5. It means these values is 12.5 tons, which we have calculated, and this value also 12.5 tons. Now what buoyancy we have calculated, that is we have calculated a buoyancy of 5 tons per meter. It is uniform. So this is the buoyancy curve. That is the blue one is buoyancy curve and red one is the weight curve. Now if we calculate we deduct now. Once we deduct, then what will happen? So at this point, this is our 5 here. This is 5 tons. So if you deduct from here to here, how much you will be getting? 12.5 minus 5, it will give us a value of 7.5. And this 7.5 is the mass is more than the buoyancy. Let us take this way. This is the 7.5 value. So it will be, so this has got a value of 7.5, and let us take it minus. So it will be minus 7.5 ton. And similarly, what will happen? Here also it will be 7.5. because 12.5 minus 5, that will be 7.5. Now what will happen to in between, the other compartment? Here, no additional mass. So what will happen? It will remain like this because there is no deduction. So if you see the green line what I have drawn, that is the load diagram. Red what I had drawn, that is the mass diagram. Blue color what I had drawn, that is our buoyancy diagram. And green color what I had drawn, that is the load diagram. Once we draw the load diagram, now we can calculate the shear force diagram. So how we calculate the shear force? If we can consider this way, this is A and this is B, this is C, D, E, F. So this is E and this is F. So at A, what will be the SF? SFA. So SFA will be 0. Area under the load curve at this point is 0. And SFB, we can calculate, always calculate separately first and then plot. So SFB will be, our distance is 40 meter and minus 7.5. So how much you will be getting? The shearing force at B, it will be, it means minus 7.5 multiplied by 40, it will be minus 300. So minus 300 tons. Similarly, we can calculate at SFC, it will be minus 300 plus, because this is plus. So up to this, what is the value? 40 multiplied by 5, it means plus 200. Because this area will have to sum up. This is negative, this is positive. So we'll get a minus 100. Then SFD, how much it will be? Now it is minus 100 plus, from here to here how much? That is 200. So this is 5 minus 40, it is 200, so we'll be getting plus 100. So this will be plus 100. And then SFE, how much it is? So SFE will be added this value. This is also 5 multiplied by 4, that is, it means it will be plus 100 plus 200, and you'll be getting a value of plus 300. So it will be plus 300. And then finally, that is SFF will be, if you calculate SFF, it will be plus 300 minus, because this is negative, how much you have got before, it means same value will be getting 7.5 multiplied by 40, it will be 300. So you can be sure, it means one of the way we can we can come to a conclusion your calculation is right, because if you see it has become 0 at this point. If you get a value not 0, it means you have made a mistake has been made during the calculation, so that you are not getting 0. Now we can plot it. This is what will happen here if it is for an example, it is the 300 is here. This is minus 300. So we can join these two lines. So from the 0, it has slowly increased to minus 300. And after that, how much is the value? That is the C is minus 100. It means if it is 300, it will be somewhere here. So this will be minus 100. Once this is the minus 100, and then what is the value here? Plus 100. So we calculate for an example, this is plus 100. So it will extend join here. So it will be joining a line here. After that here, how much it is? It is plus 300. So we extend this to 300 here. And after that, how much is the value? It is 0. So the construction of the shear force diagram will be like this. That deep green line, what I had drawn. Now you can construct it means what is the maximum shear force? 300. So where it is? It is at B and E. And now we can construct the bending moment diagram. So BM exactly similar way we can find out. BMA will be 0 because shear force is 0. And then at the end, because that area is at this point, the area is 0. Not because of the shear force is 0, shear force is 0 here also, but you will be getting BM maximum. So BMB, how much it will be? So this triangle, area under this triangle. This is minus 300, this is 40. It means minus 300 multiplied by 40 divided by 2, how much it will be? Minus 600. So we can calculate the at B, it will be minus 600. And always write the unit. Don't mistake of not writing the unit. Though I have not written here, like in this case, it will be T, ton. And if you multiply by G, then it will be a kilonewton. So 600 value will be getting here at this point. Suppose this is our, for an example, 600. And then the next is you will be getting at this C, what will be the BMC? We can calculate exactly similar way. So BMC will be our minus 600 or it is 6000. Another 0 it will be. So it will be 6000 minus this area. So this area we need to calculate how to, it means how will you calculate this? Actually, we will be calculating complete area minus this triangle. So we can get a value of, if you do that, you will be getting a value of 9000 minus 1000. And we can find out what is the value. It means it will be minus, it means this will be plus, because this actually we are removing this. This is, you are calculating at this point. But since this is the triangle, that's why you have taken 9000 minus, it means this will be, if you take the bracket, it will be 9000, this will be minus. 9000 minus 1000, that is 8000. and minus 8,000 minus 6,000, it will be, our total will be it will be minus 14,000. So this value will be minus 14,000 somewhere, for an example here. And then at this point we can find out what will be the value. Accordingly, actually this point it will be value will be, it means it will keep on adding. It means this much at this point also we can calculate at the midship how much will be. So there will be a value that will be, this 1,000 will not be deducted because this complete triangle will be added. It means this at this it is 14,000 plus this 1,000. So it will be minus 15,000. And this will be minus 14,000. So exactly similarly, if you now calculate what will happen after 15,000, at this point it will be minus 14,000. So it will come to the same value, and this 300 also, it means this 300 also will come the same value. So now we can draw a curve which is a smooth curve through this line. It means it will be like this. So we'll have to draw a smooth curve through this. So it will be like smooth curve, both sides you'll have to draw. So it will be like this. Like this side, the way I have drawn, it will be both sides will be same. Now we know what is the maximum bending moment is 15,000, and where it is the midship section. And midship section, the bending moment will be maximum in this case. And then the shear force we have already calculated. This is the where we have noticed one thing, where the shear force changes the direction. There the maximum bending moment will occur. Is it clear how to construct this? All of you? Any question?
Yes, Chief.
Yeah. So if it is clear to you all, do you have the notebook and the pen? All of you? Okay, what we do,